Poskie's Reckoning.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, once again to the tavern. And if you might be asking yourself, what happened to Connor and Logan? Why do they look different? Well, that's because they're not here tonight. My brothers are here tonight in the tavern. Todd and Nathan are here with me tonight. We will actually kind of following the little bit of the hype train that we started with reworking Ranger. We reworked Ranger a couple weeks ago, and so and Beastmaster has always been a cool subclass, but always has gotten the shit end of the stick. And my boy Todd wants to play Ranger Beastmaster in this next arc, and so I was like, well, damn, Nathan's DMing, so I was like, hey, Nathan, like,
let's make it not shit.
I was like, Nathan, Todd's playing, Nathan's DMing, and I was like, y'all want to jump in the tavern and fix this mess that Wizards of the Coast leaves us? And so they were like, let's do it, and so now we're here tonight, and we're gonna fix this shit. Oh, so
I'd love to know what they actually think about Beastmaster.
I actually don't want to know what Wizards of the Coast wants to know, like, because I just feel like they'd be like, bro, what do you mean it's fine? And then I get even more mad because they'd just be like, because then they'd say some dumb shit like that to me, and I'd be like, you're actually on crack. So,
well, like,
right.
wow, at 7th level, you can take additional actions, which you're probably not going to take, and you can deal force damage, which you're probably not going to do.
Speaking of which, let's go ahead and jump into this. So kind of to my boys, Tavernside Talks, how we kind of do it is, like, we'll take turns reading through some stuff, and then we'll talk about it, and we'll just keep progressing. And so I'll just jump right in here, and I'll jump us out of the book here, or off rip here. So Beastmaster subclass. Beastmaster, I love how they also gave it one sentence. A Beastmaster Ranger forms a mystical bond with a special beast, drawing on primal magic and a deep attunement to the natural world. I think the design notes are kind of important. So Ranger updates. Here are the main updates in the subclass since the 2014 Player's Handbook. I like how 10 years have gone by, and here are the changes. Okay. So Primal Companion returns from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, which was well received.
So we didn't make a new rule.
Yep, they made it in Tasha's and they kept it. Exceptional Training now allows you to command your beast to use its bonus action to take the dash, disengage, dodge, or help action, and the beast attacks ignore damage resistance, which i.e. the force damage. So, okay, it's not big, but it's something. Bestial Fury now allows your beast to benefit from your Hunter's Mark. That's it.
Why couldn't it do that?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That doesn't even make any sense. Man. All right, so this is gonna be kind of thick, but we'll get through it. So,
it's only once a turn. What's the point?
Yeah, anyway. I don't know. All right, so third level Primal Companion. You magically summon a primal beast, which draws strength. Hold on.
I don't think we need to go read all of it verbatim.
So I'm supposed to do some sort of homework?
No, you're good. No, we're gonna read it verbatim. No, we have to be meticulous, bro, so we can know how.
No, I don't even know what it is. What am I looking at?
So go to books and playtest.
Sorry.
Open up playtest 6.
My bad, bro. My bad. I literally
I was just staring at my desktop.
Bro, I even mental noted. I was like tell them where it is. Like, so let's all get on the same page. I even meant to tell you guys to share with me like a Gmail so I can get you into the thing. But oh well. I can just read it out loud. I mean, you guys seeing it's not real. I'll just read it out loud. You guys we can explain it. Yeah, it's gonna be playtest 6, my guy. It's gonna be page 40. 44 is where it starts. 45 is where we're at. We're reading into this. Also, welcome in, Sharky/Turtles in the Furnace. Glad to see you here. Glad you ordered a round. Take that drink. Enjoy it, my friend. Tonight we are going over Beastmaster subclass. Welcome. Fixing it.
Yes,
so
we're having a good night here.
Yeah, we're chilling. Okay. Are you ready? Are you ready, Todd? All right.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, you magically summon a primal beast, which draws strength from your bond with nature. The beast is friendly to you and your companions and obeys your commands. Choose its stat block, beast of the land, beast of the sea, or beast of the sky, which uses your proficiency bonus, PB, in several places. You also determine the kind of animal the beast is, choosing a kind appropriate for the stat block. Whatever kind you choose, the beast bears primal markings indicating its supernatural origin. In combat, the beast acts during your turn. It can move and use its reaction on its own, but the only action it takes is the dodge action, unless you take a bonus action on your turn to command it to take a different action. That action can be one in its stat block or some other action. You can also sacrifice one of your attacks when you take the attack action to command the beast to take the attack action. If you have the incapacitated condition, the beast can take any action of its choice to not just dodge. If the beast has died within the last hour, you can use your action to touch it and expend a spell slot of first level or higher. The beast returns to life after 1 minute with all its hit points restored. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can summon a different primal beast. The new beast appears in an unoccupied space within 5 feet of you, and you choose its stat block and appearance. If you already have a beast from this feature, it vanishes when the new beast appears. The beast vanishes if you die. Woo! Okay, so I don't like this at all. Okay, no, I've taken it back. Hold on, I'll retract that. I like this in a very, very refined capacity, which is what I did. I'm not gonna go through all the beasts of the land and all these things, right? But essentially, they just all encompass it, right? Beast of the land, you can see it's just a table. It's just a random beast. Armor class is a thing. Our hit points, speed, all like base.
One special action.
Yes. Yeah, they have like a couple cool little things. Oh, I meant to actually add a couple. I meant to add Primal Bond to my list. That's okay, I can add it in. But yeah, it's just generic. So like Beast of the Land, generic, basically a creature of the land. Beast of the Sea, generic creature that you'd find in an ocean, allegedly with 5 feet of normal movement though. So I guess it can crawl on the land. I don't know.
Like an octopus or something.
Yeah. And then Beast of the Sky, 10 feet, 60 feet fly. So
Beast of the Land, it can charge. Beast of the Sea, it can grapple things and breathe underwater. Beast of the Sky, it can fly.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Fly by this
so
beast. Yeah.
Yeah, so theoretically, a beast of the sea, if it's like a fish, it could grapple.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. That's so literally my exact point here. This is okay.
I mean, to be fair, it's not actually the creature, but still.
It's not actually the creature, but a beast of the land, you could do like a large toad, and then you would use a charge attack and maul.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is definitely does seem.
And that's my issue with this.
Scope.
Is literally my issue with this is the fact that they're like, hey, take away all uniqueness of like what you could do with like choosing a stat block in like one of the source books and making it your own. Instead of doing that, you're basically just all encompass generic stat block, which I think it's like there's two sides to that. Go ahead, Nathan.
I mean, if you're kind of wanting them to like homebrew it at all, like originally, I guess you could just homebrew over this. This just gives someone something to work with. If like the name of the game is, yeah, homebrew whatever you want to homebrew, then yeah, well, I guess we're doing just that. And so, but yeah, definitely does seem sad that they put it in this state and then expect people to just make it better.
Exactly, and that's exactly where I'm coming from too. It's like, this is cool. I think that this does a good job of like, hey, do you want to do absolutely zero work and do you want to not bother your DM? Here you go. It's like, that's dumb. Like D&D is supposed to be fun. Like D&D is supposed to be like, you're making characters unique, and
it's a collaborative game.
Yeah, and that's why like this is like, I will say though, this is much better than base 2014, because back in the day, like it took your whole action to even do anything with your companion. And I will say that the revisions here in this in this wall of text, I like how they have things function in terms of, hey, they spell everything out, right? Like, hey, it can move on its own and use a reaction on its own. Hey, it can use a dodge action unless you want to, use a bonus action, but it's a bonus action now. It's not, you're not burning your entire turn as an action to do it. Bonus action, now you give your creature agency. I think that is a balanced way to do it, because I say balanced loosely because I mean Ranger's already kind of underpowered as is, but I think it's a good way to kind of give your Ranger some action economy while keeping it kind of grounded and just not like, hey, you get two whole turns. It's like, hey, you still have to kind of play off each other. All right, Todd. Before I introduce my thoughts here, do you have any what are your thoughts, bro? What are your thoughts?
I agree.
All right, cool. So let's jump in. So I just copy pasted this and then I revised it. Let's see, make sure it comes up. Okay.
Oh, yeah, let's pull that up.
You want me to share it with you? I can just read it off for you.
Well, could you put in the books and playtests?
It's a Google Doc.
You could download it as a docx and then just upload it.
Really?
So that we can access it. Yeah.
Oh, download. Download as a micro. Oh, okay.
Or a PDF or whatever form suits your fancy.
Oh, I didn't mean to open it as a Word. I meant to just drop it. Please. Oh wait. Okay.
Man, you really dropped the entire monsters guide. I need to do my homework.
Since then I'm a ranger, you know.
Better do a little scheming.
Can I please?
Scheming like a skeeving skeever.
Scheming skeever.
Scheming skeever.
Okay, hold on. Rules and
That is
mechanic. Books, playtest. All right. That's here you go.
There it is.
All right, that was pretty simple. Instead of that's actually much easier than I thought it was gonna be. So there you go. Thank you for that.
Too easy. All right.
Okay.
No,
So even off rip, I'm like, bro. First of all, I gave my boy one sentence of dialogue. Let's go ahead and change that. So overview. Rework Beastmaster subclass. Overview. A Beastmaster Ranger forms a mystical bond with a special beast, drawing on primal magic and a deep attunement to the natural world. As the bond between the two grows and develops, so does their power and synergy. Over time, their deep-rooted connection allows them to become a powerful duo capable of surmounting any obstacle. Boom! That is basically that is my context as to what I did here. Okay, so what I changed, I copy pasted that big ass paragraph, and I switched it. So I kept some verbiage, but what I basically did was you magically summon a primal beast, which draws strength from your bond with nature. The beast is friendly to you and your companions and obeys your commands. With the assistance and approval from your DM, find a medium or smaller beast stat block that matches the kind of creature you want for your primal companion. A good place to start is in either the back of the player's handbook or monster manual. An example would be the wolf stat block on page 311 of the player's handbook. Boom, there you go. There you go. That solves your problem. Whatever creature you choose. There you go. Bro, or pick up your cat.
Pick up your house cat.
Look at them go. That's a primal companion if I've ever seen them.
Look at those obstacles they're surmounting together.
Yeah. Whatever creature you choose, the beast bears primal markings indicating supernatural origin. The chosen creature has the following stat block adjustments. All right, here we go. So this is where I kind of nitpicked. I kind of took out some of the things that I feel like Wizards of the Coast did right, and I blended them. Armor class. I like that the armor class does increase. So it's a 13. Yeah. That's already better than what a lot of creatures are. And as your proficiency bonus increases, you get more armor class. That keeps the creature relevant for longer. I like that. Hit points. 5 + 5 times your ranger level. The beast has a number of hit dice D8 equal to your ranger level. I like the balancing of health, right? I like that at low level. You're not gonna have a creature that maybe like a black bear or something that has like 40 hit points if you're level 1 or level 3 but at later levels it becomes underpowered and then you have to adjust it and scale it and it just would get messy. So I like that this is already kind of a balanced kind of scaling of how your creature will get more powerful with hit points or at least health, right?
Yeah, because you want to keep that. Yeah, as like a DM, you'll probably keep that lower because you can resummon it with just a spell slot.
Exactly, right? Yeah, it doesn't take a whole lot for you to be able to do that. So, ability scores. Its intelligence score becomes 8 -1. Wisdom becomes 14 +2, and charisma becomes 11 +0. I like setting those stats in stone because the whole point of this is like it's a mystical creature in your primal energy. I like that this creature's baseline, its intuition, its intelligence, and its riz are all kind of are all on a more positive, right? I would say 8 for any sort of beast is actually really intelligent. So I like that they're kind of like, hey, this is a creature that you can commune with, you can talk to, you can develop a relationship with because it's like almost more of a spirit than it is like an actual creature, like a beast, you know? Yeah. So I like that. So I said you hard lock those, and then in my notes I'll get into some other things. But senses, dark vision 60 feet. That's just good to just make it so your beast can be applicable in dark settings. Instead of my rhino man can't see the dark. Guess that just sucks, and this encounter's over, and I don't get to do anything with it in this in this deep depth dink. What'd I just do?
I feel like it should share your senses.
Right, I would agree, but then if you don't have dark vision, then it does negate that ability to do that. So, plus, you know what I'm saying? So, like, if it shares my senses, and I mean, I could add that though, and be like, and any additional senses that you might have, I think that'd be kind of cool. So that way it has base dark vision, and say if because as a ranger at level 18, the reworked ranger, you do get blind sense. Right? Yeah, you get blind sight. So I think that actually, I could, let me in parentheses do all the same as character. Let me go and add that in here. Because I like that idea, actually. Languages, understands the languages you speak. Yep, communicate.
Yeah.
Proficiency bonus equals your proficiency bonus. Makes sense. Abilities and features. The creature loses any multi-attack feature it might have, because obviously there's some scaling there, and you don't want to necessarily, as a level 3, be slinging out all these attacks. But that was the only thing I like to limit, right? Because like, if a creature has like pack tactics, or it has charge, or it has something innate in like the creature stat block, it should have those. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that there's any beast in D&D like hard-lined creature type is beast that has crazy broken stats. Usually it's like something else. All right.
Yeah, usually they're not too bad.
Before I go any farther, what do you guys think about that?
I think it's solid.
Yeah, so far I feel like it's pretty solid.
All right. Sounds good. Okay, so
Yeah, you'll have to re-upload this to the Discord after.
I will. Yeah, I will. I'll probably delete the old one, and then once I make any modifications, I can do that for sure.
Yeah.
Note: the creature retains its speed amounts, and this is where it's like you wanna, as a DM, when you homebrew stuff, it's good to just be more articulate than not, because then players can understand something in its entirety, and then it can be addressed if you want to switch it, or it doesn't have to be addressed, right? So that's why I added a note. The creature retains its speed amounts. The creature retains its strength, dexterity, and constitution scores. The creature retains any abilities, skills, and attacks that it has listed in its stat block, unless it's multi-attack or otherwise redacted by the DM. And I mentioned that because DM does have final say. If you don't want to, if you don't want certain things, then get rid of them. That's the DM's. That's a DM's purview, I think.
And thankfully, we don't have to plan for every niche case.
Exactly.
We're just doing this pretty much for ourselves.
Right? Exactly. So, in combat, the beast acts during your turn. It can move and use its reaction. I basically copy and pasted that verbatim. However, I did actually add in if you have the incapacitated or unconscious conditions, the beast can take any action of its choice, not just dodge. Because when I looked up incapacitated technically does not encompass unconscious, because unconscious is like, incapacitated is you're not cognizant, whatever, but you're like awake. Unconscious is what happens when you get knocked to 0 hit points, or you're asleep or something like that. And so for me, it's like, if one of those things were to happen to you, I don't see why you couldn't have full agency of your creature and they can now do whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I added unconscious.
Yeah.
And then I just add a couple flavor words here and a couple different words. If the beast has died within the last hour, you can perform a revitalization ritual, which requires an action to touch it and expend a spell slot of 1st level or higher. After 1 minute, the beast returns to life with all its hit points restored. And going back to what you were saying, I think, Todd, this is where you want to keep the health kind of lower, right? Because you could, in theory, in combat, just like, boom, defib, you're good.
Because you basically, you're running a dungeon. You say you have 5 combats. You basically have, it's almost like another party member.
Right.
That could die. That could be resummoned 5 times.
Yeah.
So if it had 126 hit points,
be crazy.
Yeah.
Be literally crazy. However,
plus,
okay. Go ahead, sorry.
With the armor class, armor class going up with proficiency bonus, it should kind of mitigate. It's not like it's running around at armor class 11, so it's instantly dying.
Yeah, that's so true too. Exactly. It's a baseline 13 plus, baseline 15 really, because you get a +2 as your proficiency bonus. So 15, that's not bad at all.
Was 13 plus proficiency bonus in the previous one?
In 24, I should have had my books. In 2014.
Oh yeah, it is 13 plus proficiency bonus. Okay, yeah, so they're pretty tanky from the get-go, relatively.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. No, I take that back, actually. I don't need to look in the book, because back in the day, I'm pretty sure you just took the stat block of a creature. And a lot of creatures, a lot of beasts have, really low AC, so actually, yeah. Okay, so one big thing I also changed, though, whenever you gain a level in the Ranger class, you can summon a different primal beast. I switched that from Long Rest, and the reason why I switched that from Long Rest is because my intention with this is that you're going to make an entire stat block kind of meshing together the stat block in the whatever player's handbook stat block you have, or sorry, whatever creature stat block you have, and these things. And so I would, you maybe on a PDF, Word document, whatever, you can mesh them together, have something out. I think that, I think it's cool that, and the whole point of how I rebuilt this and want this to progress is that you're building a bond with something. I understand if maybe, oh hey, we're in the ocean now or something. I think that could be that could be where it'd be nice to change things. But I also feel like sometimes that's just a hurdle you have to surmount. So I do want to give that option of hey, at a level, if you want to, it's a primal spirit. If you want to switch it out with something, you have the opportunity every so often. But I don't like the idea of like, all right, Bilbo, my bear, I'm just gonna delete you, and now you can come back as a hawk or something. And you always are changing that. It just feels like you're just summoning a spell. You're just summoning a creature out of a spell, and it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it definitely seems tacked on. Otherwise,
my opinion on that though is, like you were saying before, though, is it's more of a spirit.
That's
so
true.
It's more of a spirit. I would say it could take on multiple forms. So I would think it'd be more, not necessarily guaranteed on a long rest, but like you have to take like say a deliberate like meditation of, 4 hours during a long rest, and that would allow you to, because like a level up could happen. I guess it usually happens at long rest anyway.
Yeah.
But.
And the reason
I guess it kind of depends.
And the reason why I do the level 2 is because I'm also trying to mitigate kind of some of the admin too, because then the DM doesn't have to worry about you constantly switching your creature and hey, are you applying the right adjustments and stuff like that. I think if you have it at a level, go ahead.
I would like to say that if the situation comes and your beast cannot follow you, you can't make any like things to make it work, then you just don't have your beast.
Okay.
If you can't change it.
Okay, and this is good. So yeah, you guys think that a long rest is fine, even with these kind of.
I'd say being able to tailor it to maybe any plans you're making, I think, is a solid part of the Beastmaster being like a spiritual creature that you can summon. I do like the bond portion of it, but I think that can be independent of its form.
Yeah, and I do think it's a good point that you guys bring up too. I think that whenever you finish the long rest.
Yeah, in theory though, like I guess spiritually, mentally, like it's like to the character, it probably would basically be like the same creature, whether it takes the form of a falcon or it takes the form of like, a wolf.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's all just like a fey creature.
Right. Okay. Let me go ahead and actually. How is it worded here? If the beast dies, whenever you finish a long rest, you can summon a different primal beast. Yep. Okay. So that's exactly how. All right. No, that's good. That's a good change, and I like that. It's a good point, right? Because I think that the point is not like the creature, not the feat, not the physical appearance or stats, but it's more of like the actual just like entity. And I think those are good ideas. I like that. Okay. So we'll switch it to whenever you finish a long. So whenever you finish a long rest, you can summon a different primal beast. The new beast appears in an occupied space within 5 feet of you after you finish a long rest. After you finish,
because it does kind of depend on the player too. Like I guess that'd probably be just more something that the DM would have to handle if you had, for whatever reason, somebody that I don't know. Because if you have to homebrew a certain amount of stats, if they were trying to like change their beats like every single time, I guess that's the only thing that could really pose an issue.
And I will say
it is,
Well, yeah, and I will say, if you honestly look at this, the majority of the things that are here that I say that the stop block adjusts are honestly the only things you'd have to change if you were to, be consistently switching your beast's like form. Actually, and I'm gonna actually go ahead and emphasize this: when you finish a long rest, you can summon a different primal beast. I'm gonna say form.
Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily like it saying primal beast and leaving it there, because it does. Then it seems like you're negating it. But I think if you do form,
it's just the form. The form of the magic.
Yeah. So I do like that, and I think that I think honestly, if you have your stat block all written out here, it'd be pretty easy to change. The speed, the strength, dex, and con scores, and maybe a couple of features. I think it'd be pretty easy. So yeah, I don't think it would take very long if you need to do that. And I like that kind of that fluctuation you can have depending on your environments and encounters. So that's cool. Good idea.
You think you'll leave it vanishes when the new beast appears, or are you just gonna say the beast like shifts forms?
I get with the.
Oh, if you already have a beast from this feature, it vanishes when the new beast. Oh, yeah, and see that's what I'm saying. With little verbs like this, like verbiages like this, that's what makes me feel like they don't actually give a shit about your connection. It's like you have a beast, you summon a new beast, old beast goes, oh man, and it leaves.
It's just a dude to send and have him
Boosters.
bite the ankles of the enemy and then die.
Yeah,
that's kind of how they feel of it, or it seems like they feel about it.
Exactly. So if you already have a beast, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm honestly the new beast, the new I'm gonna say the beast takes its new form. The beast takes its new form after you finish a long rest. Boom. That's how you solve that. The beast takes its new form, and the beast takes its new form after you finish
After
the rest.
you
Finish
the ritual.
Yeah. Because it's a revitalization.
Because if you're trying to change its form, I imagine.
No. The
you need to do a
revitalization ritual is when you heal it from the death.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, okay. Then
And
yeah, it's like a meditation kind of.
Whenever
I
you
guess it could just be another ritual.
Whenever you finish a long rest, you can. Okay, I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna reword this. We get the gist. I'm not gonna do it necessarily right now. So we can't talk through. But yeah, I like these ideas. I'm gonna go through there, reword it so that actually makes it seem like you're not just kicking out your lackey and replacing it. It's like that's so dumb.
Yeah, you don't just like go to bed, wake up, he's like here, and you're like dap him up.
And then
you're actually like you're focusing on this primal connection.
Exactly.
And I had an idea that I think would be cool to see, rather than just you have a beast and it does whatever it does. There's some sort of like synergy where, like, my initial idea was like maybe if you both affect an enemy creature, then those creatures take an additional amount of damage in one turn. So if you both like hit something, maybe your creature like incapacitated or like does something not necessarily damage, but it affects an enemy creature, and then you shoot something. Then both of those creatures would take an additional amount of damage, maybe like a D4 scaling up or something. But I think that could be cool where you can work together rather than just doing your separate things.
That can also like kind of come in the form of like I would say the hunter's mark.
Well, and that's why I kept some of these changes too, and just wait for a little bit longer, Nathan, because I do get into some of the kind of synergy. I don't know if you guys
was looking and I didn't quite see it exactly, so I wanted to mention it.
Yeah,
but
we can read through, but I think that kind of synergy is what I'm going for, and then we can bring that up once we actually get down a little bit further, and then you can see if what I have written is like scratches that itch, or if we can add something in. But jumping back to the PDF,
yeah, mostly it's just I want it rather earlier rather than 7th level is when you start like actually having synergies with your beast.
The thing,
but
I would say,
adding more stuff would just be more shit that you get at level 3, and so that's not necessarily what we want.
Exactly, and I think it's one of those things too where for 3 is when you get this, and I think that I do, and then the next subclass features 7th. I agree. It'd be kind of cool if they ramped and it scaled, a little quicker. But obviously, you're also, developing yourself as a ranger too. So I think that we don't want to add too much, like you're saying. You're already getting a whole ass animal, So that's where I think that because
everything it can do.
I pondered that too. I was like, I would like to add some of the things I'm implementing to 3rd level, but I just don't think. I think you're already doing so much with choosing your animal and getting your stat block down. I think it would honestly make it more of a process.
Yeah,
but
level 3, that's another character.
Yeah. And as a bonus action, you're getting these you're getting hit points, you're getting agency through a whole nother creature. So, but 7th level. Someone want to read exceptional training in the PDF and the UA?
Again.
Sure. Oh, yeah, you can.
When you use your bonus action to command your primal companion to take an action, you can also command it to take the dash, disengage, dodge, or help action as a bonus action. In addition, whenever the beast hits with an attack and deals damage, it can deal your choice of force damage or its normal damage type.
Okay.
That is insane.
Oh, just for clarification.
What's up?
So normally it gets a bonus action, but it can only take the dodge action.
So what this is saying is that when you have your primal companion, if you don't command your companion, all it does is do dodge. When you take your bonus action, you then can give your primal companion an action, whether that is
attacking,
whatever,
or manipulating something.
What this is saying is when you take your bonus action to give your creature an action, your creature then also gets a bonus action that it can do dash, disengage, dodge, or help. Now that is me thinking about that. That is actually really good. That I would say that is a really good addition at 7th level to your creature. I think it is good, and I even would say that in addition, whenever the beast hits with an attack and deals damage, you can deal force damage to basically negate any resistances. I think that's also good. However, for that to be a sole thing at 7th level when you are only getting in total 4 features, 3rd, 7th, 11th, and 15th, and that's all you're getting, that is where for me it becomes just like you're giving your creature more action economy. Cool. This is where I'm like, bro, no, let's add something here. Let's make this more about a bond with this creature and not just some simple boo-boo bullshit of like, here's more actions, here's whatever. I just don't think this is enough. I think this is good. I think it's cool that you can then give your whole companion basically an entire turn, but it's not good enough for the scaling and the ramping of this subclass. Go ahead, Nathan.
Yeah, like with the baseline stuff, it feels like you're just playing regular ranger and you have an animal.
Exactly.
That's lame as hell.
It is lame as hell.
Yeah, as much as I think that's definitely quite powerful, but I think it could be overpowered in the sense that, like, if your creature is able to take the dodge action, that gives everything against a disadvantage, right?
Yeah, sure.
So that would have everything against it would have disadvantage every single turn.
You'd also never have a bonus action for your character.
That's true.
You'd never yourself have a bonus action.
Yeah.
If you're making
yes.
have disadvantage every time. And also it's your animal. It's not going to do as much as you. And so it having more resilience isn't necessarily as big of a deal.
What about the help action though? Because you could use the help action to... Wouldn't that... In combat, does the help action give you advantage on an attack?
I would...
No.
Actually, it does.
Does it?
It does.
Because you could use it to feint, it can...
That's a good point. That's pretty good.
So you'd basically, you wouldn't have a bonus action per se, but yeah, you could have... I mean, it's definitely good. I think it's good. I would have to... I haven't necessarily looked over every single ability, but yes, you would be using your bonus action. So I would say, depending on
so I guess maybe
abilities,
just not
depending
help.
on abilities, it would... There could be quite a few turns where your beast isn't necessarily going.
Well,
if you're using a bonus action for a spell, if you're using a bonus action for something else.
And that's a good point too. But I think that you're making a good point, Todd. And once we read through my revisions to this, maybe we'll get rid of a couple of these options. Because maybe I didn't really actually think all these the way through. Because you're right. If you can use a bonus action for your creature every single time, yeah, you're basically giving free disadvantage every single time, or giving you free advantage every single time. So I think that maybe we'll cut some of those options out.
It's resummonable. You have something you have a bear, 19. I think you said 19 strength.
Yeah,
it's powerful. It has 17 AC. It's got 50 HP. You can resummon it with a spell slot. It has everything against it has disadvantage. That's quite powerful. But because this is in addition to your ranger, you already reworked it, so ranger would be more up to par. With other classes, and so you also have all your normal stuff.
But in
and of itself though, choosing for it to deal force damage like that in of itself, I would say is really good. Right, to overcome those resistances is pretty good. But also, just that. I will say though, keep in mind as well, that is good. However, your creature is probably doing depending on the creature you choose, maybe 1d10 down to a d6. That's one attack it has. So I would say on average, your beast is only dealing maybe 8 to 12 damage.
Plus your proficiency bonus.
I guess that's true too. One attack. I mean, it can help you, which I think is cool. It gives you more, connection with your animal. But yeah, I mean, depending on what you choose. I mean, keeping it alive is definitely cool more for the player. If it just dies instantly all the time, then because it depends too. Because I mean, you can get through anything with attrition. You have 17 archers shooting at it, it's gonna go. Yeah,
it's gonna get slap-o'd. But I think
it's cool though. I do like that.
I like this. That's why I didn't get rid of it. I was like, this is cool, but let's make let's add something to it. So that's where let's go ahead and jump back into my doc here. Essentially, I didn't change anything. Exceptional training, boom. I just copy pasted it. I like that. I do think that's a good thing. However, this is where I start to kind of tailor Beastmaster to actually being more of a like companion and not just a creature with hit points that you send to die. 7th level, in addition to exceptional training, deepened connection. The bond between you and your primal companion has strengthened to the point where it is unlocking untapped primal magic from within you. Choose one of the following options. So there's only one of these, so I'm gonna read all of them, but you only get one at this time. Beast Sense. While your primal companion is within 150 feet of you, you can communicate telepathically with it. Additionally, as an action, you can see through your companion's eyes and hear what it hears for up to 10 minutes, gaining the benefits of any special senses it might have. During this time, you are deaf and blind with regard to your own senses. You can shift in and out of the beast sense an unlimited number of times during the ability's duration. I essentially got this from the Find Familiar spell. Basically, your familiar, you can basically just see through it and hear through it. You can basically like warg, as those in the fantasy world might know. So you can warg through it. I thought that this is a super. I was like, dude, literally a 1st level wizard who has a familiar can do this. Why wouldn't you be able to do it with your primal companion that you have? So I thought that was really cool. I'll read. Do you guys want to say your feedback on this, or do you want me to read through all of them?
I was about to go look at what the Find Familiar spell gave you, and it was this.
Yeah, I mean, I made it a little bit farther. I made it so it lasts for 10 minutes, mainly because of the resource economy at the bottom that I'll explain. I made it also 50 feet farther because I figured, this is your primal companion that you're building a bond with. It should be a little bit farther than just the base familiar.
Definitely.
What do y'all think?
I think that one's pretty cool.
While your companion is within 150 feet of you, you can communicate with it.
You can communicate telepathically, and then you can warg through it as an action. So you can basically see and hear through your companion. You become deaf and blind. You can still feel, but you become deaf and blind, and you're now looking through your creature. So you could use it to go ahead. If you have a flying creature, you can use it to scout, whatever, blah blah blah. All the possibilities of RP and exploration for this is, if you wanted to make this also opens it up to like, hey, if you want your primal companion for maybe like after a long rest to be a mouse, that'd be pretty cool. It's no longer a combat based thing. It's now, hey, let's use it to like, navigate this environment. It makes it seem like the ranger has this whole other tool set you can now use.
Personally, I think that turns it into a very nice utility. But I would say, I honestly think 150. So you can only do it while it's within 150 feet.
Yes.
I don't think there should be a limited range.
I would agree with you until you realize that can be kind of insane for players. And so that's where, because if you had an eagle that you could see through, you could send it off to literally wherever the fuck you wanted to, and you could basically be able to do whatever you want.
Well, it only lasts 10 minutes though.
I know, but you can get pretty far as an eagle dashing, flying 60 feet at 120 feet. You can it obviously has to come back to you. But I don't know. I think we should play test it at some point too. If 150 feet is too short or whatever, I think, like you said though, like say with a mouse or rat, I think it'd be cool if you had a group, you set up, even I could see how it could be overpowered, but I think it'd just be cool. Like you're camped outside the city, you send in a rat, and then that allows you to go into the city. Okay. Yeah, let me print parentheses around this.
Because also, I mean, maybe do a limit, like a mile or maybe a couple miles. Like, yeah, you shouldn't just be able to, fly off 500 miles. But I think it'd be cool. You could swim up river. You could.
I think that there has to be. Cool. Yeah, but I do think that there does need to be a little bit of limitations because it does come back down to magic, and I don't think that you're bonding with this creature, though, if you can obviously be greater than 150 feet from your creature and still have that, connection and kind of, but I think to be able to get your senses into this creature, no other spell, I think lets you do something like that. Obviously scry, but we're not worried about that. That's where I think that to kind of keep it grounded a little bit and hey, you're still using this magical connection, and after a certain point, after a certain distance, it becomes hard to maintain that, Because you can also you also communicate telepathically with it. So not only are you looking through its eyes, but you can tell it, hey, go left, hey, go right. Like you have full control over it. So that's where it kind of.
What about maybe doing something so like you can extend the range using your slots of the ability?
Maybe. Okay.
So theoretically, you could do a really long range. You know, say it did 150 feet, or say it did like, you know, however, whatever, you know, 250 feet per use. You could expend all your uses, and that gives you a far range to do something. But like you're kind of putting all your, you know, putting all your power towards that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we could definitely try to bake that in somehow. I do like that. I do like what you're bringing up.
It could be. Yeah, it could be broken. Obviously, everything could be broken.
Yeah, and that's my thing is like 150 feet's pretty far. Like you can already do a lot with that. That's where it's like, but I do like expending resources to get more. I think that's always a good. Whenever you can trade off with players when it comes to resources and stuff like that, that's always a good way to go because then yes, it's like hey, you're giving them more, but they have to use things to do it. So I do think that's a.
Yeah, you said you increase the duration. Or maybe decrease the duration, but extend the range. Okay. So now you have like a minute. So it's like, yeah, you can fly wherever, but you have a minute. You only have 1 minute.
I mean, in my mind, I would rather have longer duration than range, because then it just in my mind. But we'll workshop that. We'll workshop that for sure.
Okay, I just feel like outside of combat, you know, it's like 150 feet isn't that far.
I could be maybe.
Hold on.
It's pretty.
I think that's a really cool. That's just a really cool, you know, gimmick. I think it's a really cool ability.
Echo Knight gets something similar. I think also at like level 10. With their Echo.
For their okay,
where they can go like look through it, perceive through it, and it's a way further range than this. But you also have access to way more maneuverability with these.
Yeah, with this.
I think it's really cool though. I think that's a really cool ability.
All right. Okay, yeah, I do like that messing with the range maybe. Because I think you're right, though, too. 100 feet is for a first-level spell and your little baby familiar that can't do a whole lot. This is your 7th-level primal companion we're talking about. So I do think that...
Yeah, at a 7th level, they get Echo Avatar, which allows you to see through and hear through your Echo up to 1,000 feet away.
1,000 feet? Yeah, okay, we'll adjust this. Hey, you know what? Actually, just right now, I'm going to do 300. Let's do 300 feet.
Yeah.
Let's do 300 feet right now. Yeah. And I think 300 feet for 10 minutes is actually pretty good.
I guess, yeah. I don't know, because you still have perception range of say a falcon, which is, or say an owl. Like their perception range is already really far. 1,000 feet. If you still go up, you go 200 feet up, and then you see out. Like you still have a good range.
Yeah.
You don't have to fly 5 miles. You know.
Right. I think 1,000 feet's kind of insane. Especially like you were saying, the agency and how this works. But I think 300 feet seems kind of a good middle ground here, I think. All right. Nice. Does that sound good, guys? 200 feet?
Yeah.
I think so.
All right. Another option. So that's one option you can choose. Beast Sense. Primal Swap. While your primal companion is within 30 feet of you, you can use a bonus action to magically trade places with it, appearing in the exact same space that it had just occupied.
That's cool.
Thoughts?
Adds a good bit of utility.
Let me pull it back up. Sorry, I'm doing some email bullshit as well.
You're good.
Emailing the.
I love like Misty Step. I love spells like short term, like I love short term little jaunts that you can do and maneuver and manipulate.
Short-term disability.
I like.
Yeah, you can have your beast get into a position while you're doing something else, and then you can just swap with it if you need to be there.
Exactly.
I think I do like this stuff.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
It's pretty cool.
30 feet though. I think 30 feet's already kind of a pretty far distance. 30 feet for this keeps it within the realm of not being kind of insane. Because when I think of 30 feet, I'm also thinking like the utility of going up too. 30 feet tall is pretty far. Say like you have your Falcon, right, and it lands on a 30-foot wall, and you swap places. Like that's really good. Like I'm thinking like not just like on a flat scale. I'm thinking like if you want to use
verticality,
to traverse and move and go. I think it could be really good.
Although, with a bonus action for it though, your beast would not have its action.
Yes, however, at this point too, just keep in mind, I was thinking about this and kind of having the balance. Also keep in mind that if you wanted to, at a ranger at 5th level, you do get a second attack. So if you wanted to forego one of your attacks as a ranger, you could still have your beast make an attack. That is one of the stipulations of of your action economy with your animal. So
Okay.
yeah, so I thought about that. Yes, the bonus action there does. The only thing is though, is I've always been a fan. I've always in the back of my mind allowed players to be like, hey, can I do this bonus action for my action? I've always, like, some people are like, no, action economy is action, bonus action, reaction. Your action cannot be a bonus action, bonus action not gonna be. In my opinion, if it's a bonus action and you want to scale it up to do the bonus action as an action and then do a different bonus action, I've in my mind think that's fine. Now I guess if you went to about balancing and all this other stuff,
Okay.
but like in my mind, if you wanted to do this as a bonus action and then you said, hey, for my whole action I want to make my beast do a thing, I'd be like, okay, like there goes your whole turn as your person, but you know you're making moves with your creature, which that's what this is all about, is having that bond. So
Gotcha.
all right, anything else?
As for that, probably not.
Okay. Life Force Tether. While your primal companion is within 30 feet of you, you can use a bonus action to establish a tether that connects your life force together for 1 minute. Any damage dealt to you or your beast is halved, but the damage is dealt to the both of you. For example, if you take 8 points of piercing damage from an arrow, the damage would be halved to 4, but both you and your beast would take that damage. Additionally, any healing done to either you or your companion is shared, bolstered by your vitality. For example, if you were healed 6 hit points, then 3 would go to your beast and the other 3 would go to you, adding your constitution modifier to your total minimum of 1. So basically,
How do you feel about rounding?
Round up.
Have it. You round up. So 7 would turn into 4 on both of y'all.
I would say 4 to 1, 3 to the other is what I would do.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's what I would do. But the thing the thing with this is it's adding your con mod. So like say Todd, you're rolling mad con, right? You have like a 4 to your con. Then whatever you get healed, not only are you splitting it to your homie, you're getting 4 additional. Because I wanted to give the healing, because you're already splitting damage and moving it across the battlefield. But so I wanted to give there be a little bit of a bonus when it comes to the healing aspect.
Okay.
But my purpose with this can be interesting for certain people's play styles, because I do understand the whole like, oh well, I mean you're just dividing the damage amongst yourselves, and so you're both just taking it. It's like, yes, but I think in some instances, or some people who play this game,
But damage against your creature is less impactful in a sense than damage against you.
Exactly, and so that's where I think that this could be still viable. Like I personally, I personally wouldn't necessarily use this, but that's not my playstyle, and that's not necessarily how I would go about my character. I think this is a really cool mechanic, though. I love when you have spells that are like, hey, tether yourself to a homie, share damage, because then, yeah, it's like now agency and different things can be done, and you survive longer. Both of you can survive longer because you're sharing it. And so I do like these ideas.
Yeah.
I like this concept a lot.
I understand.
Are you able to use something to end it?
I would
If
say
you needed to?
I would just say, yeah, you can end it early as a bonus action.
There we go.
Or I would just say you can probably I would just maybe add in there, you can dismiss it as a free action, just negate the tether. I could add the end at the bottom.
Maybe specify on your turn.
It's like a reaction.
Well, yeah, free action would imply on your turn. So.
You can end this,
reaction.
You can end this effect early. I'm just gonna put you can end this effect early at any time.
Okay.
Actually, not any
So
time.
you just-
Actually,
Reaction?
no. You can end this
reaction
effect.
could be interesting.
Yeah. You can end this effect early at using a reaction, because then you could do it on someone else's turn. And I think it'd be kind of funny. You're like, bro, my bear's about to get absolutely nuclear missiled, and you end it and you let it blow up.
Yeah, that's what I was
asteroids.
thinking a little bit.
An asteroid's coming in, and you're like, oh shit.
Summon asteroids. But
Summon asteroid.
I was thinking
meteor
like
shower.
maybe it'd be like it's shared between you and your companion, but it's not taken by your companion because it would help you be a little bit tankier. But I don't know how that would shake out with like maybe the class fantasy or balance, of course.
Wait, say that again.
Where like damage to you is halved between you and your companion, but not from your companion to you. So then your companion's not going to get nuked, and then you take a fuck ton of damage.
Well, that's where I think
that
that's
doesn't
where
really feel. That's why I don't, because like when I was playing Baldur's Gate, I was trying to use this a lot.
Yeah.
Because you have the tether where you both get AC, but your damage is shared, and even with both getting AC, it was tough because Shadowheart was just dying instantly every time.
Right.
So, yeah, if you take this, you're
playing with fire.
Going to die.
You're playing with fire a little bit, but I do think this is actually a viable option. Kind of going back to what we were saying is, where if your creature dies, bro, you first level spell slot, bring that motherfucker back to life at full health. You know, I think that's where this can really shine, because it's like, not to say the whole point of this is
as an additional health pool.
Yeah, it's not to say that this thing is just an additional health pool, but I think that it like can be utilized in that way. You know, I think that you know, but this will actually I didn't even actually realize the synergy here, but this will tie in kind of cool to the later thing that I added, so we'll get back to that. But I think that you can end this effect early using a reaction is cool, because then, like we say, if your dude's about to get fireballed, you can end that shit and be like, sorry big man, and then, you know, because I don't think you should be forced to take everything for a minute, because that could kill you. And so I think that was a really good little addition there, so good looks.
And then how do you feel about like AoE healing, where both characters get healed, or both your companion and you get healed? How would you rule this? Just have it apply the Constitution bonus twice to both of you?
Yeah, I think he already said that.
No. So the Constitution, so say
or one effect that heals both of you. Say, like, what is it?
I would say
third
if
level that you can heal the whole party.
I would say if he heals both of you, then I would say if 2 uses of healing, like if it's like, hey, healing for you, it'd both be split, and then yes, I think you would add your con mod twice. I think that would make sense.
And yeah, I guess there are a set number of uses, so it's not like completely game breaking.
Right, and then yeah,
it's not like you're getting double value out of it.
Right, to finish here, it says you use a selected feature a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier and regain all expended uses of the ability when you finish a long rest. Exactly, that's the thing, is there's that's why I really liked. I think Tosh introduced it, or one of them did, where they added this little new resource of like, hey, you can use these features a number of times equal to your wisdom, because then it makes your stat more valuable, but it also gives a unique resource. It's not always about like, hey, once or twice a long or short rest. Now it's like, hey, here's a new way to give you a resource, but it's also based on, you know, your abilities. So yeah, man, that's what do you guys think? I think yeah, what do you guys think?
I think you could find reasons to have all of these. Although I will say Life Force is a lot more situational than the other ones, I would say. Because sometimes you just don't want to use the Life Force tether. And I guess sometimes you don't want to use the Primal Swap. But having it there as the option is always nice. But I feel like there's just less of a use case for Life Force over the other two. But that's just me.
I would... Go ahead. Todd, sorry.
You only choose one, right?
You only choose one, yeah. And that's the thing, though. This is why I do really like when you have options, because then you can play Beastmaster and choose a different one. Say you've literally done Beast Sense and Primal Swap, and you're like, oh, I want to do a Beastmaster again, but let me choose Life Force Tether. Like, let me do something different. And I will agree. I think, like, and as I was making this, it's like, I honestly think that, yes, if it was me, I'd use Beast Sense or Primal Swap 9 times more out of 10 than Life Force Tether. But there are people out there. I mean, this could be a role-playing thing, too. You choose Life Force Tether because you're like, no, I love this creature, and this is what my character wants to do to kind of, you know, to have that role play and to have that kind of in-game function of, hey, we're sharing the burden together. That's kind of like the reason why that's even there. You know, it's an option, right? If it's never chosen, is it still an option? I think it's still a good option. I think it can be beneficial too. So,
what about being able to change the ability during a long rest?
No, I'm honestly, I'm not a fan of usually giving people a lot of that free, those just like, hey,
where you can have every option for free if
like,
you just want it at that time.
Exactly. I'm not a fan of masteries when they're like, hey man, you have these weapon masteries that you're amazing good at these weapons, you know. Oh, just kidding. Take a nap, boom, now you're proficient with a whole new weapon. I don't like things like that.
Although with the class that's able to do that, it's kind of their thing, is they're really good with weapons.
Oh no, all of them, all weapon masteries. Any class gets a weapon mastery.
Really?
Yeah, it's not like it's really not
stupid.
like
I thought it was just a fighter thing.
No, it's not like just fighters are super cool. No, it's like everyone that has a weapon mastery, you can just swap it out for a long rest, and and same thing with Ranger and its terrain features. It's like, hey, on a long rest, switch out your terrain features that you're getting benefits from, and make them something different. I'm not a fan of that mechanic because I like solidified options that you give meaning and purpose, and you make them for a reason. Like, I'm choosing this because I want this to be displayed through my character. I'm choosing
I kind of want to flip that on its head. Instead of you have all these options, you choose an option each day, maybe. Where, like, well, I guess
that's the same thing.
It's mostly for the Ranger thing, where like you're choosing your favorite terrain, like you were saying, where you prep for what you're going to be going into rather than, and that's, I guess that doesn't really apply to what we're talking about right now, but I just kind of want to mention that since you said that.
No, I agree. And I think the Ranger, I think the Ranger terrain like selection, I think that's one of the instances of where that can be a really cool use of the, hey, every long rest you swap it. And the reason why is because I think that, yeah, like you said, you can maybe have notes and you can, like, you know, get freshened up on a terrain before you go. As a Ranger, I feel like your niche is like, I'm good at traversing and hunting and doing things in different terrains. And so that's where I think that ability in that sense is cool. And I think that should be, you know, upheld. But for things like this, where it's like, hey, now you're kind of altering and manipulating your gameplay, your tier of play, how you want your subclass to work. I just think that it should be hard set, because then, like I said, if you can just swap between all of these, it's like, oh, what's the point of playing Beastmaster again? I literally just get this and use them all. It's like, no, this makes it so that you can go back through the subclass and do it differently. Different little minor changes you can do into your sub. What did you just see?
Bro, I looked at, never mind. Okay, it's actually not as insane as I was looking.
All right.
Sorry, I'm trying to plan other things at the same time because shit's getting emailed to me, and
you're good, bro.
I'll try and focus up.
All right. Anyway, anything else, boys, on this, or should we keep chugging?
For this feature, I think we're good.
All right. This one right here, this 11th level, I kept it, but I actually, I don't think I added to this one. Go ahead, Nathan.
11th level, Bestial Fury. When you command your primal companion to take the attack action, the beast can make 2 attacks. In addition, the first time each turn it hits a creature under the effect of your Hunter's Mark spell, the beast deals extra force damage equal to the bonus damage of that spell. So it just doubles the damage of the spell.
Basically, no, it doesn't double the damage of the spell. Basically,
I guess it's force. It is force this time, yeah.
Well, no, it lets you roll the Hunter's Mark damage. So I think it's a D8, so it lets you add that. It doesn't double anything.
You hit the creature while it's under your Hunter's Mark. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was using the Hunter's Mark.
It deals the damage. Okay. I thought you were getting rid of multi-attack. Wasn't that? I
got rid of multi-attack at 3rd level. This now brings it back into the class. Because for instance, I've looked at Brown Bear Todd, and it has multi-attack, and that's kind of a little bit OP at 3rd level. But this is where you now get this is where you now get a secondary attack. I didn't change this one. I thought that, like, getting a second attack's pretty big, especially if you can, especially so that synergy of Hunter's Mark. I think that this kind of sticks within that kind of building a bond with your companion without doing anything too crazy. Because of that, it does share your Hunter's Mark now. It kind of has that kind of bleeding kind of effect now over to your companion, and which is kind of one of the big things that I reworked in Ranger, was that your Hunter's Mark does kind of almost become stronger and build, and I think that it's cool that this allows for that. And I think 2 attacks, that's doubling your damage output for your bestial companion, or your primal companion. So I didn't see a need to just, like, keep power scaling the shit out of this. So I just said, hey, that's a good threshold. Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, I think that if you add too much, that's the thing, is you can't rework something and then break it. You know, you want to add coolness, you want to add cool flavor, you want to add cool abilities, you want to add strength, but you don't want to just like, oh, oops, and then just break it on the other side, because then now you have a different issue.
Oh, be like, oh, your beast gets 3 attacks. His attacks deal D12s.
Exactly. That's where you start to run into issues. But I think that this is a cool. I kind of like this.
Because already dealing force damage is already a really big, boost.
I mean, resistances aren't that common, but definitely being able to overcome them when they are there, it does feel really nice.
Well, I would say also, I mean, a lot of like bigger top tier creatures, they have a lot of resistance to bludgeoning, slashing, piercing. So I think even the fact that 7th level you have that.
But that's usually from non-magical.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like if you're
the beast is magical.
Well, I wouldn't. I mean,
is force damage a magical?
Yes, force damage is magic. It's like
So
force,
if they had resistance to non-magical attacks,
this would break through
force damage would. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. I think force damage itself is pretty cool.
All right, this Bestial Fury, I think it's cool. I also like this dude because it's almost like a little milestone for your creature. Like, hey, your primal companion is getting better. Like, you can now attack twice. Cool, and you also you have that bond kind of is established now. So I like this little thing. So, however, this is for me where I had one of the biggest issues is 15th level share spells. I think it is very lackluster. For it to be your last subclass feature trait.
As the 15th, it's cool, but it's not enough.
Exactly. When you cast a spell targeting yourself, you can also affect your primal companion beast with the spell if the beast is in 30 feet of you. Like we said, cool.
And I'm looking at the spells that rangers get access to that are touch that you would actually be able to cast on this thing. I guess I should probably include other types of spells than touch.
Yeah, because it would.
It's nice though with like healing.
Right, exactly. This is really cool, but at 15th level and reading the rest of the PDF, like this is the thing is if look at the PDF and look at this tacked onto the other couple, like you're not getting a lot. You're getting a beast companion off rip. That's a generic stat block that isn't cool. You get exceptional training, cool. Your creature can do a lot of actions, but like that's all. There's no depth to it. And yes, it can overcome resistances, whatever. And then, my creature can attack twice and can deal a little bit of damage with Hunter's Mark. Okay. Oh, share spells. Like we can share. I'm level 15 Ranger, and my subclass is pointless. It is so level 15 Ranger, bro. That like all you basically done by choosing the subclass if you left it as UA as is like, bro, you can do a little bit more damage and joy. Like that's all it felt to me. And so that's why I'm like, nah, this is why we gotta switch it. Even the 7th level rework that we've already done makes this so much cooler and gives a whole new mechanic. And wait till you guys read what I have for 15th level. You guys want to see what I have for 15th level? I like. All right, bro. Connected spells. I renamed it too because share spells is stupid. Connected spells. When you cast a spell targeting yourself, you can also affect your primal companion with the spell if the beast is within 30 feet of you. Kept that. I like that. That's cool. It shows that bond, that connection you're having. All right, 15th level, Unstoppable Bond. Nothing can stand between you and the bond that you have with your primal companion, which has peaked, unlocking deep-rooted primal magic from within you and your beast. Choose one of the following options. There's only 2 here, but you choose one. If at any point you or your primal companion is dropped to 0 hit points and knocked unconscious, the other is filled with a primal anger that is hell-bent on avenging their companion's suffering. For 1 minute, you or your companion gains the following benefits. Advantage on attack rolls and athletics skill checks. Gains resistance to bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing damage. Movement speed is doubled. Once the duration has expired, I should put your movement. I guess, no, it doesn't matter. Once this duration has expired, you or your beast gains 2 levels of exhaustion, and neither of you can perform this feature again until you finish a long rest. Quick sidebar, 2 levels of exhaustion. I'm reworking how exhaustion works so it's not as insane as you think it'd be. It sucks, but
I think that's cool. I think more things should take into account exhaustion.
I agree 100%.
It honestly be kind of
wasn't a shitty system.
Just as like kind of a sidebar, would be like a choice, kind of off topic, I guess, but like say like for a fighter with action surge, honestly making it so you can basically have unlimited action surge, but you take a level of exhaustion. So it's like you can push yourself to the extreme if that's what you wanted, but you take exhaustion.
I agree. And I think that's why I'm kind of reworking how exhaustion works. Because I think if you have more levels of these systems, then you can give them out without people being like, yo, my life's over. Because there's only 6 levels of exhaustion. I've added it to 8 before you die. I've only added, I think, 1. I've only added 2 levels. But even those 2 levels makes the gap much larger, and it makes it more viable.
Yeah, I think having like that desperate action is pretty cool.
Yeah,
it'd be kind of interesting it'd be interesting if there's more things that kind of took advantage of that. I guess like with the haste spell, you day spell, do you get exhaustion or no?
Yeah,
or you
do.
skip a turn.
No,
after.
you become lethargic for a turn, right? But that's still like
Yeah,
that's still a cool thing.
Basically just stunned.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Well, no, I'm reading ahead. We can read this and then I can talk about it.
Okay, let me go and read this one, and then we can kind of talk about both of them. Warding proximity. This is the one that I'm actually most probably keen on wanting to maybe either add or adjust some things. So you guys let me know for sure. Warding proximity. While within 10 feet of your primal companion, you can manifest and unleash the power of your deep-rooted connection to provide protection to one another. You both gain the following benefits for 1 minute. +1 to armor class, resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, or resistance to one of the following damage types. Fire, cold, thunder, lightning, acid, poison, necrotic, radiant. Or radiant. Whatever. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Alright, what's up?
So, I had an idea where you could probably, and putting it at 15th level seems like a bit of a waste, but have something to do with like positioning for yourself and your companion, where maybe with warding proximity you get certain bonuses, but then anything like between you and your companion has an effect on them, or maybe allies between, enemies between you. There's some sort of effect, so that you can like actually position to try and make the max, try and get as much effectiveness out of it.
I do like that idea.
Okay.
What if that was like a third?
I think that.
This?
Yeah, let me. What did I just do?
You can note for that.
Also, something I wanted to note, it's kind of minor. For your primal swap, there's no limit on how many times you can do it, but you might want to.
There is a limit. Any choice you select above, it says you can use your selected feature a number of times equal to your wisdom mod. So that's everything. You read all of them, and then it says you can use your selected feature a number of times.
Did you add that?
At the bottom? The very bottom of the
Oh.
Okay, it's not separated, so it seems like it's part of Life Force Tether. That's why I didn't notice it.
Right, yeah. And then I could make that a little bit. I mean, there's
one space between it would probably.
Yeah, I can do that for sure. But yeah, that is a resource that you can burn through. But I do like this, what you're talking about, where creatures caught between you and your friend.
Or maybe some sort of positional thing. Maybe not between. Maybe I don't know. Just something that that would encourage like being in different places and not just wailing on the same target.
Well, so this was kind of like my intention. Here, let me go ahead and just add like a note here, just and then I can work on it. Add a bonus if
maybe both you and your creature gain +1 armor class. Allies between you gain an armor class, and maybe enemies -1.
Yeah, I was gonna say add a bonus if a friendly creature is between you. Add a debuff if an enemy. Add a debuff if an enemy is between you. Cool. Yeah. Well, so and so my kind of a little bit of more like my thoughts behind this was Avenging Anger is more of like I like that one because that one is kind of like for the characters who are like, hey, me and my primal companion, we're more like separate kind of. We're not necessarily in the fight together all the time, but that's kind of like how our battle type is. That's how we kind of play our combats out. And so then that this is a benefit to, hey, we're apart. As soon as one of us goes down, crazy shit goes down. But then but then this other one, warding proximity, is for the people, for the gamers out there who want to keep their primal companion close and have that benefit and and fight together. So that's where I think it's kind of like that's where I was kind of thinking about the spectrums, right? So
I think it'd be kind of cool if there was something a little more permanent for it, though. Like for warding proximity. Maybe similar to like imposing disadvantage or like reducing damage. That doesn't necessarily only last 1 minute.
Yeah, the only thing with that is you have to be careful with certain things like that, only because like my thought with this is like you permanently have connected spells where you're casting spells and they're going on your creature at 15th level also. Don't forget about that.
This is true.
So you have that big permanent buff there, but that wasn't enough necessarily for this 15th level feature to be good.
I guess if this is in
that's where I added a cool feature that you can do,
Okay, I do like I do like what Nathan said though, like the team aspect.
Yeah, I added a little note. I'm gonna definitely go in there and we can add a third option. And like we did with Rework Ranger, don't you worry, guys. I will post this to the YouTube channel so you guys can play test it, use it however you want to. Do not worry about that.
I like being able to have. You know, I like. It'd be cool to have that option that you have something that could allow you to, you know, benefit your party as well.
Yeah, okay. Real quick, I wanted to run this by you guys. Do you guys think that resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage would equate to having resistance to 2 types of damage instead of just the 1? So it's either bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, or resistance to 2 of the following types, whether it's fire, cold, fire, thunder. I feel like if I were to make it 2, people would always choose that. But then also my thought behind that though was like, say, if you're in a combat of just straight martial and bludgeoning, piercing, slashing is predominant, then you'd obviously choose that. Like if there's no elemental effects, then you don't need that. But I'm thinking that in an event that there is elemental effects in play, then you're gonna want to take 1 resistance. But I almost feel like that kind of dumbs it down.
I should say that Rangers with 4th level spells, which they have at 15th level, have access to resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. I think it's from non-magical, but with Stone Skin.
Yeah, Stone Skin.
Stone Skin?
Oh no, it is non-magical, but they do have access to it. So maybe it could be you have that, and if you take that because it's the predominant damage type, and if you don't take that, then you take the other stuff. But that's just.
I would say it's fairly equal. How often does like one creature have
multiple types?
Multiple of bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing.
Depends kind of on what you're.
Maybe just do a 1 and 1. 1 bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing, and 1 of a elemental damage type.
Oh,
that could be cool. Yeah.
I have to actually know your foe.
Yeah, that's pretty. I think that's pretty. That requires actually quite a bit of like intuition, of like what you're fighting.
Yeah,
I like that.
Just an idea, and you can workshop it, of course.
Yeah, I do like that, but like, I think for me, I kind of like I like polarity sometimes with my abilities. I like hey, either you're gonna get your defense from martial classes or martial creatures, or you're gonna get defense against like spell types or elemental types. So that's where like
and it could force the DM to switch things up as well,
right?
And I mean, it makes slightly more interesting gameplay for everyone. But that's just me.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep it bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. I don't think I'm gonna blend those two because I do like the like polarity, like I've already said. I do like the hey, you're not getting your ass beat as much by the clubs and the swords, or hey. But I do think. Do you guys think I should make it so you have resistance to 2 types of damage types? If you choose that one, or do you think that's too overpowered? But I don't know
how many combats have multiple damage types.
Right, exactly. That's where I think that's where I think adding a second one really wouldn't do all too much, but I think it'd be kind of cool because I want this to be a powerful ability. This is like a once a long rest, 15th level exactly. So I think I'm gonna do resistance to 2 of the following types.
Okay.
I think I will do that.
I can definitely get behind that, yeah.
Because the first one is literally, hey, all martial, boom, you're resistant, you're good. Whereas the second one, it's like, oh, hey, you're early into the combat, you chose fire, oh, just kidding, it now has cold. Like a Remoraz, bro. Remoraz has both cold and fire. Like, get wrecked. Like, and that sucks. So I think for a 15th level feature, for it to only be a 1 use, for it to only last a minute, I think 2 types, resistance to 2 types of the following damage. I don't think that's too broken. I think that actually makes it kind of a more of a viable option on either end.
Is it resistant to magical bludgeoning, piercing, slashing?
I didn't specify. I think I'll leave it blank, and then DM's gonna just be like, "Yep." If I rolled it, I'd say yes. I would say yes. It would negate magical as well.
Okay.
I should.
Yeah, because that sets it apart from the spell.
So
Yeah.
I should specify. Well, not should, I guess, but Memorize doesn't deal cold. It's just immune to cold and fire,
Oh,
but it
okay.
deals fire and acid. With the swallow, it deals acid.
Oh, gotcha.
Mm.
Okay.
That shit was gnarly.
Whoa, what is?
But yeah, other than that, yeah.
Give me 1 second. I don't know what's happening.
Point still stands, though. I should say.
Okay. I think it should be resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing,
Fire,
cold, thunder, lightning, acid, poison,
Yeah.
necrotic, radiant.
I second Todd's motion.
What do you say?
To
Think
just give you
immunity.
resistance to everything.
Oh, you want all? You want bear totem?
I think immunity.
Previous bear totem? Yeah.
Oh, R.I.P.
Yeah, so resistance to every other type and immunity to psychic.
Yeah. Oh, my brain is tough. All right, no, I think yeah, and I'll add a third one there. I'll add a third one there for like that kind of like, hey, positioning. You can buff your teammates. I don't think I'm gonna. I think it'll probably be as simple as, hey, if a creature's in between you guys, they get the armor class. And I think if an enemy's in between you guys, they maybe take like 1d10 force damage or 1d10 element, like choose an element or something. I don't know. But I think force damage or something, just a small thing, but I do like that because it's kind of including your companions.
What about something
Yeah.
like what about something along the lines of a companion dealing damage to a creature between you and your beast would have like advantage on damage rolls or something like that.
Dealing damage in
Not
between?
necessarily. No, well, so you re-roll your damage dice.
Yeah, I don't.
Something like that.
Something other than advantage, because advantage is really common.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
something
didn't
like
want
that
to.
where it's quite unique.
I didn't want to do it.
It's pretty unique.
Yeah, or maybe you can add an extra damage die. Like you add like
one more damage die of whatever. Type
Yeah, you
have.
can add a damage die or something like that. That'd be kind of cool.
Maybe even something as interesting as, I guess, 10 feet. Something that'd be kind of cool would be a companion within, like, if you had you and your companion on either side of or you or your beast on either side of a companion, something like
Well,
they don't roll death saving throws or something like that.
Ooh,
While you're standing there. Something
I don't want it to make something super crazy. That's the only thing. I want it to be a slight bonus. I also
Well, it's
just-
level 15. You use it once. That's it.
No, I know. Well, what I'm saying is like not nothing crazy, but like I want it to be something. Yeah, we'll see. Death saving throws. I just feel like the death saving throws like that. I would say it's a little bit. We'll see. I'm trying.
If you
can't really focus on it right now.
depending, I feel like just adding like that stipulation. Maybe you only relegate it to enemies between you and your target. Have -1 to armor class, where it's nothing. It's not too substantial, but it opens the gate for that positioning.
Right.
Instead of adding a whole nother thing, if you don't want to do that.
Yeah, and instead of adding a buff to friendlies and then a debuff, I actually kind of like the debuff to the enemy. I think that's a little bit more. I think that's a little bit more unique in terms of thing, because not a lot of things or features necessarily. Well, I wouldn't say not a lot, but like usually debuffing enemies is a little bit less seen than buffing
Especially
your allies.
outside of a saving throw.
Right.
Which I would want to keep this outside of a saving throw. I wouldn't want to force I want it to be small enough of an effect that
Right.
you don't have to have a saving throw.
Exactly.
Or the enemy in between you gets vulnerability.
That's
to-
correct.
Whatever element you
It's
choose.
It's vulnerability to potentially the elemental damage type that you chose for your resistance.
You can do it for like one turn.
Yo, what if it was one of those things where it was like, yo, anybody within it. So like your allies also just get absolutely smacked.
You're resistant, but your allies are vulnerable.
I like the idea of you and your beast standing on point on each side of an enemy and saying, "Ayo, beat his ass."
Well, that's I kind of like that though. I kind of like because I feel like primal magic is like kind of untapped and kind of uncontrolled. So I almost like that it does not. I like the idea of it does not discriminate. Like this like proximity, this bond that you're unleashing. Literally, like if people like are getting in between it, like in the physical manifestation through this ability, then it does hurt them because of like the primal connection that is being disrupted. So I think that'd be cool. I mean I wouldn't even be necessarily opposed to something like where it imposes a massive debuff. I do kind of like your idea, Nathan, of the armor class, because anything that is easier to hit, boom, is already like that's already a massive and I like that you're keeping it out of the realm of advantage, because advantage I feel like is sometimes overplayed. So the fact that it's a debuff, oh man, I do like vulnerability. I just think that for 1 minute that'd be kind of crazy, because you get a boss in between you and it's just dead. That's where you have to like have those kind of balancing ideas as a DM. It's like what are they gonna
boss for the vulnerability to fire and 5 fire wizards.
And something I've been like thinking about is partial vulnerabilities rather than just vulnerable or not vulnerable. And this would definitely require just like on the individual level having like going through each creature, changing the vulnerabilities, but like having maybe a partial vulnerability for this instance like this, you could just specify it here.
Yeah.
Where it's like maybe 20 to 50% extra damage. Instead of the full.
The only thing is that's part of something I try to keep in mind. I don't like to overcomplicate things sometimes. Like
definitely.
Like that's where it's like if I'm reading a wall of text and I have to interpret it and then I have to ask my DM 4 times what does that mean, and then I'm like, okay, I feel like you can have really cool abilities, but if they're too complicated and not like easily like digestible, and there's a lot of stipulations, for me, that's where I'm just like, oh great, like fuck, especially the DM too.
By 15th level, you should be...
At 15th level, it's
understanding enough of having to read a bunch of shit to understand your character.
Well, I guess in a way that's true. Real quick though, going back up to avenging anger, you guys think that's a healthy place for it? Do you think that?
I mean, with how weak Ranger is, as from the get-go, I'd say it's fine. But like if it was on like any other class, this would be fucking insane.
I see.
I think though, like, but the thing about that, like avenging anger, is like it's a good fail-safe, but that also gives you resistance to bludgeoning, slashing, piercing.
But I mean, like, you have one or the other, so you're only going to have bludgeoning, slashing, piercing resistance from one source.
Resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing.
Wait, what?
I don't know, I think
you only get to choose one, avenging anger or warding.
Oh, right. Yes, correct.
Which is what I think Todd is.
You only get one of these.
Yes, you only get one, but like, if one gives you resistance and the other one gives you resistance, but it's like a good fail-safe, I feel like avenging anger is a little bit better.
Oh, I see.
Actually,
in the sense that.
Yeah. Because warding proximity, you get
class.
resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, or an elemental type, broadly. And then one armor class. Versus avenging anger, in theory, if you were to just like go out and kill your companion, you would just get resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, as well as advantage with and double speed.
Because like by this point, you
thinking as a min-maxer, you're just gonna go kill your companion.
Min-max.
Because by this point, it's like
your
depending on your party. Depending on your party, by level 15.
What health is your guy gonna have? 15 times 5, 75 plus 80 health at 15th level?
I just feel like with certain spells, like you have access to so much. So it's like having warding proximity do something like really unique would be. Because like Nathan was saying, like you have a spell that gives you resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing,
Yeah, but then you also can choose 2. You also can, or you can choose 2 of the following damage types, and that's actually really good. I feel like.
Yeah.
Aren't there spells that give you resistance to those?
Yes, but the thing is,
you can't have both of them.
You're a half caster. This is the thing. If you're a half caster, any resources you don't have to burn, then don't burn them. You know what I'm saying? Like
Well, I guess what I'm getting at is like avenging anger is really cool because it's like what spell gives you advantage on all attacks, resistance, your movement speed's double, like a massive burst of like martial like ability. Like that's really cool.
Yeah,
Like, the other
definitely.
one's just like
Okay, I see
the
where
other
Todd's
one's
coming
just
from
you
now.
have resistance.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're thinking Avenging Anger is like
Something
unique
to
and
make
it's
it more
like
unique.
almost like RP and it's like it's a thing and it's like cool. And then Warding Proximity
Well-
just feels kind of like a all right, yeah, you get like it's just
You
like
know what-
it's a different version of a spell.
You know what could be cool too is like a duration of proximity to you and your beast would be like maybe like temporary hit points. But it's like if you leave the zone, you lose them. So like that could be kind of like a defense. Like so something happens where it's like your team could group up. You could use this. You have temporary hit points in this zone. And something like that. That seems pretty unique. There's
Around your companion, maybe.
Yeah, so basically like warding proximity is like a defensive burst of energy, and avenging anger is like an offensive burst of energy as an ability.
What if
What do
Warding
you think about something
Proximity
like
was
that?
a dome shield?
That's what I'm saying, a bubble shield. Dude. You turn into
Bubble
master.
shield.
Bro, what if it was a dome shield and like
I mean, I think that would be kind of cool. Like it's like a mystic, like, yeah, it's like a mystic like aura, you know, that would like stuff flying in there, you know.
what if we made it like an aura or something and like ranged attacks or ranged spells had to like ranged weapon attacks or spells had disadvantage to strike creatures within
Yeah, like
it.
like something defensive, you know, like you're in a dragon's lair, it flies over the top, it shoots fire. You could like, you know, you do warding proximity, it makes this ward.
I have an idea.
You know?
Okay.
Maybe your companion gets a bunch of temporary hit points shared between and anyone within a certain range. It takes the damage instead until it runs out of those temporary hit points.
The ward does?
Yeah. So maybe your companion gains like 30, 50 temporary hit points, and then any friendly who takes damage near it, it takes the damage instead.
Wouldn't it just be easier to give like to explain that the ward has 50 health and that any damage that's taken within this dome is?
But I think basically think of it as like a defensive, the defensive opposite of avenging anger. Because avenging anger, I think that's pretty cool. Like I think that's a really good ability.
Okay, cool. The only thing is my only this is where my balancing brain is going though is I don't want warding proximity to be such a cool good defensive thing that avenging anger is like oh that's a really cool unique thing. There's no point in taking it. Let's just take the warding, you know, the bubble shield, you know, because I feel like as soon as you make something super good, like then like even like the options of avenging anger, then it's like that's not. That's not.
I'd like to say.
Okay, go ahead.
For avenging anger, you don't really have control over it, and so having warding proximity, maybe it's more situational, but it's more readily available. Because avenging anger, you have to wait for one of you to go down in order to get any of it.
Exactly.
Theoretically, you could send your
beast into, I meant to say this
with
though.
a rune of exploding on it, so it just walks up and dies.
I meant to say this though. I feel like earlier, if you do life force tether with avenging anger, then that's where you can start to, you know, not only are you kind of leading into like, oh no, my dude's about to go down because you're splitting HP, but then once it does, you get this burst of whatever.
Okay, and now we're just getting into what can we do with this class instead of how can we make it better.
I think avenging anger is powerful. I think it's more powerful than warding.
I do like how it is at the moment.
Okay.
I think warding proximity could have a bit more depth. I don't necessarily know what it would need, but more depth would probably be what it needs.
Okay. In a way, well, this is the thing. In a way, I think warding proximity is in a healthy spot right now because it is in a way kind of like what you're saying. Avenging anger is a burst of a aggression because something happened. Warding proximity, it already is a defensive thing in a way that both of you are gaining the benefits of this, where both of you are gaining resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing.
But it's just boring. I will say.
But that's the thing, is it's boring. So that's where it's like.
Said boring.
And also, there's no range necessarily on avenging anger, but there's a 10-foot range on warding proximity.
Yeah, that's just my like I was saying earlier, is like there's not really anything else in the game that allows you to do something similar to Avenging Anger, you know?
And as a caster, you do have access to a lot of different things, so having something unique would probably be more.
Okay, so, Okay, well, I think honestly, I know you said you have a kind of a time limit here, Todd. So this is good. I think we will go ahead and we can keep workshopping it, or I'll think of some other stuff up, and then I'll send it in, and you guys can maybe look at it, and we can and adjust it before we post it to the YouTube channel. But I do agree. I see exactly. I understand. Oh my gosh, I understand what you guys are saying in terms of like cool, unique thing. Kind of just basic normie kind of like, all right, like defensive stuff, whatever, you know. And so I think to bring up this defensive one into the same level of like unique as the first one, I think is what we need to do. So
A bubble shield would be cool. Even like a ward, a zone, say like it was a bubble shield, and the bubble shield has temporary hit points, where it's like it blocks incoming attacks, and it say like it has say like 50 health.
So the thing that I just realized with that though is the whole point I want this to be about is the 15th level Unstoppable Bond. So yes, you're manifesting this bubble, but it's still but then it kind of just like, oh, I create a bubble, and then it negates the whole like, hey, bond, like my creature are doing something.
Yeah.
Like instead all I'm doing is me and my creature are pooping out a bubble shield. Now people are going, hell
Yeah, my creature is just magical, and it could do a magical effect rather than the magical effect being your bond.
Even your creature could stand in the middle of it and be like,
yeah, you can, but like you're not gonna.
Okay, hold on. What about?
Well,
no, because All right. I'm gonna think about this. We can think about this for sure.
We'll give you something to think about.
Yeah, we'll give me something.
Yeah, next Tavernside.
Next Tavernside, but no, but that's about everything. So I mean,
it took us a while to do this.
Yeah. Welcome to Tavernside Talks.
Overall, I give it. I like it out of 10.
Yeah, I think that
I could get behind that.
We brought up some of the beast sense and some of the other things. And talked about
I think the beast sense,
the deepened connection,
are really cool.
The beast sense probably
it's kind of similar. Yeah, kind of similar. Going back to like kind of the rework of fighter is allowing your. Was it Indomitable? No, Barbarian.
Second wind. Your second wind, you can use more outside of combat or outside.
Yeah,
of
combat. so stuff like that. Like stuff outside of combat. It doesn't have to all be inside combat.
Exactly.
Cool utility like that.
Because most features are just in combat. You deal more damage. Oh, you can do this action in combat.
Yep, and that's something I do notice a lot of times. That's why I'm like, I will say a lot of the reworked Ranger stuff we did, and I kind of. Like, I don't necessarily want to go back into it and start like just rehashing, but a lot of the features we added to Ranger was basically just damage because of like, you know, the Colossus. Like we just took Hunter features and ported them into Ranger and gave him a bunch of different like damage options. Actually, that's not true. No, that's not true because the defensive options you can do make it so you can get certain things. So I guess it's not necessarily all.
That's good in the sense that like you have your damage, but like I would like just reading over Ranger, like you have just the survival checks, because like, you know, just with having a Ranger, you know, with being able to find food, having advantage on survival checks in like certain terrain, like you keep your party alive for free.
And that's something you also have to keep in mind too is how things progress. Like just because you're getting something at 13th level, that's a certain thing. Like you still have all your other 12, you have your 12 other levels of stuff, you know? I think that early game Ranger, especially with the rework that we did, has a lot of its RP and a lot of its like utility mechanic kind of things early on. And then as it progressed, it kind of steeps out with a lot more of like, hey, damage, attacks, various kind of things with that. And I think that honestly, I kind of almost like that, where it's like early on you're getting all your mechanical things, that way you can have those for longer. Then hey, 15th level and now you're adept at going through terrain. It's like that kind of sucks because like the whole point of the Rangers to be able to, you know, navigate these terrains better. And I think that the fact that they give you a lot of that stuff early on, like primal, like we incorporated primal awareness too, like you get all those spells like speak with plants and all that stuff, like you get a lot of early game mechanical things, and then it ramps up to where your damage is starting to kind of compensate.
the other thing too with like arcs that we're doing. You know, if we're doing lower level arcs and your terrain boost is at level 12 where you never use that. It's like,
Exactly.
one of a ranger.
Yeah, then don't even choose ranger. Exactly. That's exactly right. So that's why I think it's cool that they have a lot of that lower level. So, all right. Well, any final thoughts, my friends, on the rework here?
I think it's definitely good. Definitely a lot better than what they cook up.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy, bro? I don't even get paid. I do this out of the joy of my heart. Those dudes get paid to make content.
It's
And
like,
it sucks. Sometimes.
Come on, man.
Sometimes.
Like, just make the class fantasy better.
Right. And that's a really good point, because literally everything I did when it came, well, first of all, I love the ranger. I want my boy to shine. But everything I did here was to make it cooler and make it, like you said, class fantasy. I want people to choose Beastmaster so they can have a connection with the creature, like the spirit primal companion, and then you see it evolve through your levels. Like that's a mechanic. Oh man, yeah. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty proud of this, because I was like literally sitting there late at night and I was like, bro, that'd be cool. Bro, that'd be cool. Bro, that'd be cool too. Bro, that'd be.
Do you keep like a notebook by your bed just if you wake up?
Nope. I say I'm gonna remember that and I forget.
Dang.
For real. Also, another thing.
You need one of these.
Small tangent with like the Depth Explorer.
I do have one of those.
Feature.
Yeah.
Is your DM needs to actually incorporate this stuff in order for it to be useful.
True.
Like you're not always using survival checks. It's definitely one of the less common checks that most people do, or so I've heard. As well as nature checks are exactly the most done thing.
Right.
And
if
so
we had a ranger during the frost trail, we could have just taken the shortcut.
Ironically enough, that would have been a perfect time to do it, because I was fully aware in the years we were having to do a lot of that stuff, and I would have incorporated it. But I feel like no one really wanted to like meta necessarily, so no one did. Well, hold on, let's go back up. I think no one wanted to meta, but then also no one wanted to play a dog shit class, because at the time that shit was ass, and I would not want to play it either. So, but now it's dope.
Correct.
Now it's dope.
We'll find out just how cool it is.
I'm excited to see what the hell Todd does with it.
Yeah.
Next episode.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Oh well, don't get your hopes up.
But yeah, we'll go ahead.
Like
I said before, we'll go ahead and once I finalize it, we get that last. I think that very last ability, that feature option. Once we get that kind of a little more unique and a little bit cooler, then I'll post to the YouTube community forum thread thing, and then you guys can feel free to have it, check it out, and all that goodness. But yeah, Todd, I'll let you go because I know you have to get up at ass cracked on, so I don't want to keep us here.
I need to get to looking for something.
Yeah.
But I guess I'll be heading out as well.
Hey.
You're looking for rocks?
Hey.
No.
Hey. New arc this weekend. I'm waiting on a couple details from Nathan before I can make a post in the community, but that's okay. Hey, keep your eyes out.
I'll get you that.
He's gonna get me that. But so keep your eyes peeled on the YouTubes, on the community forum thing for updates. Keep an eye out for the content we drop in terms of Tavernside reworks and stuff, and keep an eye on the Twitch schedule so you can stay up to date on when we'll be going live next. But that is it for tonight. Thank you, Todd and Nathan. Thanks for jumping in here and hanging out and giving me ideas and making this even better than what than when we brought it in. So appreciate you boys. Hopefully
you staying up till 2 a.m.
I was up till 2 a.m. last night, dude. I literally was playing games and I was like, well, I'm still awake, so
hey, 2 a.m. Hold on, 2 a.m. for you?
Yeah,
that's like
I was at work.
4 a.m.
You were at work at midnight? No, boys, I'm hours ahead.
Oh, yeah. 2 hours ahead.
Yeah, I know. I was going the wrong way.
Anyway, now I was at work 3 hours after that, but still, same thing.
Yeah, anyway. Same thing. All right, hey, thanks for everybody for hanging out with us, watching, chilling, and we will catch y'all later. Peace out, my boy.